Back again, you're still watching us here on the Daily Debate, speak more about the renovations and the openings of museums. Very much delighted to have joining me over the phone, Mr. Waleed Battoty, former Tourism Minister Consultant. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you can hear me well.
I can hear you very well.
That's great. Good evening. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Waleed. Now, how can the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, Mr. Waleed, benefit from such sites here in Egypt, especially if we're talking about open-air museums, renovation of museums, relocating museums? What does that add to, or how can the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities benefit from such sites?
Well, not just the Ministry of Tourism, it's the whole country has been benefiting. Let me give you an example. The museum, NEMEC, the Museum of Civilization, the new one, the one where the parade of the golden mummies, the golden pharaohs parade. You know, the impact of this opening, it increased the number of American tourism. And I'm only talking about the field that I am practicing guiding, still on the field. Mm-hmm. And we did witness a big number of increase of tourists coming. And some of them, by the way, they came, we don't know how, they were under the impression that that is the opening of GEM, which is Grand Egyptian Museum. Mm. So the people, as they came here, and they said, we thought, how come? That was big thing, that was big parade. I mean, they talked about the parade very much. So that tells you that the parade did unbelievable positive effect abroad. Plus that the museum is beautiful, to be honest with you, and I'm still inviting all Egyptians, whenever they have time, they should go and take their families and have organized tours, not just to go by themselves. Our museums cannot be done really on your own. You need to have somebody with you, an expert to explain, to guide you. And now NEMEC is providing guides. Okay, you pay them the fees with any language you want, Arabic, English, French, Italian, whatever. And they are very professional, and they'll be taking. Going back to your point, what does the Ministry of Tourism? The Ministry of Tourism and Antiquity, of course, benefit from the increase of the number of tourism. Bear in mind that still there is very high restriction worldwide for traveling, for going here and there. Mm-hmm. But still Egypt, tourism did not stop at all, even though when we closed sites, when we did this, we had what I call them Friends of Egypt. Friends of Egypt, some foreigners who did not bother about the negative media that, we got used to it now, but the negative media that we get from some countries who do not wish any good luck to Egypt or any of the best. But anyway, what happened is, with all of this, we still had people coming, and they said, Egypt is my country. I've heard this from foreigners who said, Egypt is my country. Egypt is the backyard of my home. It's a couple of hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and I'm in Egypt, and they come and spend the time by the beach, and they know the hotels and the restaurants and the waiters, and there has been a good friendship. Now, recently, the president, Vladimir Putin, he signed the canceling of Rule 553, which used to be preventing flights to Egypt from Russia. I'm expecting, even though some people, they say, but it's the summer. Don't worry. I know it's the summer, but the Russians love the hot weather, and they do come, even though it's going to be a little bit hot. Mm-hmm. But they've been missing Egypt. You have to understand. There is a lot of people around the world missing traveling. Mm-hmm. Let me give you an example, which is outside of Egypt. In Australia, they sold a flight that people will go on a plane, fly from point A to point A, but they did a flight for 5 hours. Can you imagine? It was sold out completely. That tells you that people want to travel. Now, we want to benefit from this. Yes. How are we going to benefit from this? We've worked on the infrastructure of sites. We've opened museums, not just Nemek, but we have Kafr al-Sheikh Museum, Sharm al-Sheikh Museum. There's another one in Hurghada. The upgrade that has been happening here and there, and of course the preparation of also movement of some of the monuments to GIM, which is GIM stands for the Grand Egyptian Museum. Yes. This is going to be very big. You know, me and you as Egyptians, we will benefit from this because the more tourists are coming, the more hard currency, foreign currency is pumped into the country, and that's what our country needs for the time being is hard currency to be coming to. So economically, this tourism helps very much, and Egypt is doing very good on the political side. You know, I believe we're in the right track. We're doing good, thank God. I hope we can keep it this way.
Yes. I hope so too, and we're looking forward, of course, with the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Of course, I know you're going to have a lot of stories to share with us as soon as that kicks in as well. Mr. Waleed Battoty, former Tourism Ministry consultant, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We're going to leave you with this next report, and since we're talking about the new Grand Egyptian Museum and tourism and how much of an economic impact that would have on Egypt, as Mr. Waleed correctly said, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.